Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's edition of Ask Ron. I've got Ron here with me, ready to answer all of our Gold Club members' questions. How are you doing today, Ron?
Outstanding. Weather's gorgeous down here.
It's a little hot outside though.
No, don't tell them that. It's gorgeous.
But do want to give you guys a heads up. This is a benefit for our Gold Club members. So if you do have any questions for Ron that you would like to get included in next week's edition of Ask Ron, make sure to go to the forum button, leave your question down there below, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay. And if you're not a Gold Club member, for crying out loud, you must not know all the benefits. Go to ronsgoldclub.com and look at all you get for a lousy $59 a month, including leads from sellers who want to sell their houses. Go check it out if you haven't already. It truly is the best bargain in real estate today.
I agree.
And there's no long-term agreement to get in and out whenever you want. And all my forms and agreements are on there, and hundreds of hours worth of training videos are on there, and a bunch of other stuff, including these weekly questions and answers.
All right. Well, first one comes from a longtime patron, Tony and Angie Stewart.
You know, we joke about them a lot, but I appreciate you guys sending in
too.
these questions. I really do.
I do. They're always very good questions too.
And it's always good to be active. And you probably haven't thought about this yet, but you get gold points for doing this. So, okay, now we're going to get more questions.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, a Gold Club point is worth $1. $1. Every point's worth $1 on anything we've got pretty much that you want to purchase.
All right. Well, their question is, Ron, in our training, you shared how you increase your cash flow by 25% by letting tenant buyers pay more than their rent payment and giving them a matching credit. This is in contrast to what some do and give rent credits. Can you speak to the two different strategies and why you don't do rent credits?
Well, I don't do rent credits, and I never have because there's no reason to do them. I mean, I never have done it. People ask me, do I give rent credits? I say no. I just simply no. I don't need a big, long explanation. Now, the first thing you referred to is my down payment assistance program, and that's totally optional by the tenant buyer. First, we arrive at the amount they're going to pay for rent, and then I give them a chance. I ask them how much could you pay above that if it were going directly towards your down payment, if I give you some credit off your purchase price in addition to that credit. And I work them up till they pay as much as they can afford. I don't know about the 25% thing, but I usually get at least $200 or $300 extra per month out of them. And if they don't buy, it's non-refundable, but it's their option, and they get to skip a payment or two. Well, there ain't nothing I can do to make them make that payment anyway. But it's just extra income for you. And if they do, and I go up to, give me $300 and I'll give you $300 credit toward your down payment plus $300 credit off your purchase price every single month that you pay it in. So it's a pretty good bonus for them, and obviously helps my cash flow. It's totally their option though; they don't have to do it.
All right, perfect. So next question comes from Robert Straker. He says, "Hey Ron, each year when the property taxes are due, who pays them? We, the real estate investor, or the leasing tenants?"
Both. The tenants pay rent; they don't pay taxes and insurance. Okay, but within that rent is usually the amount for the escrow account that the underlying lender is holding for taxes and insurance. So you just collect them and forward them to the lender. By the way, you can't collect more than they're collecting by law. So it's not anything for you to worry about if there's a mortgage underneath, because almost all of them have an escrow account. Now, if the house is free and clear and you're buying it with owner financing, then it's between you and the seller to work out who's going to collect and pay the taxes and the insurance. And frankly, I'll do it either way. But if it were me recommending to you, I'd let the seller collect the taxes and insurance, and then you don't have to come up with the money at the end of the year because you haven't managed your cash flow correctly.
So next question comes from Shawna Wessel. She says, "Hey Ron, I just took a house subject to. The original lender sold the note to Bank of America. I just received notice that they no longer accept a limited power of attorney, which I used with the previous lender. They are now demanding a durable power of attorney to withstand the incapacity of the client and unlimited to the client's account with BOA. They also want a cover letter explaining the request. Is this unusual, or were you aware of this? What would you suggest to, we'll do those one at a time. So is this unusual, and were you aware of it?"
No, I've never heard of it actually. I'm sure the lender has a reason, but if I were you, I'd let my attorney answer this letter, and maybe he or she could even understand what the heck they're talking about, because I don't. And we need more clarity on it. And they need to know they're dealing with an attorney, not you, because you're probably going to make a mess out of it. You really don't know what they're talking about. And then you're also making them clearly aware that you bought the property. They may not even know that, or they may, I don't know. But they could call the loan due if you become an adjutant to them. So your attorney's letter is just going to say, I'm unclear of exactly what you want. Could you please explain it to me? Um, uh, and probably, I don't even, if I were the attorney, I don't even know if I'd use your name. I'd probably use did they send the letter to him or did they send it to the seller? I didn't get that. But if they sent it to the seller, I'd get a copy of that and let the attorney attach that to his request and not bring your name up if possible. If they send it to you, then they already know, so it doesn't matter.
Based off the wording, it sounds like they sent it to her. Because she also asked, shall I contact the seller and see if they will give me a durable power of attorney? So,
All right, well, I don't see the letter. So let your attorney take care of this. This is what they do. This won't cost you much money and it'll be well worth it, I promise you.
perfect. All right. Next question comes from Jeremy Cepress, and he's asking you, what is a vendor's lien?
What is a what?
A vendor lien.
Oh, well, a vendor's a contractor. Or it could be anybody. It could be a pool company. It could be, gosh, I don't know. Anybody and anything has to do with doing repairs on houses. But it's same as a mechanic's lien, as far as I know, placed on properties where they didn't get paid. Well, I mean, it could be where you finance something like, solar equipment or whatever. It could be, it's still a lien against the house. But it could be either one of them.
Perfect. Well, that's all the Gold Club members' questions, but I do have a couple extra questions that I wanted to ask you.
All right.
One of them being, what do you think is going to happen in the future, and what do you think it holds?
I get that question a lot. And the truth is, if anybody tells you what's going to happen in the future, they're making it up because nobody knows. All right. But here's my theory on that. Well, I'll tell you some of my thoughts and you can do with them whatever you want. I think it's going to largely, if you're talking about the economy, I guess, I think it's largely hinge on who gets elected in November, because that's going to be the big change one way or the other. But even with that, I don't know what's going to happen to the economy. I know we got a lot of things working against us, high interest rates and very high inflation and all of that. But on the other side, you got a shortage of housing in this country that's propping that all up. Now, we'd probably already be in a pretty deep recession. I do know we're going to have a recession because we always do. I just don't know when. In fact, I've been through 6 cycles in my 42-year career. Recessions didn't stop me from buying houses. In fact, they made it easier to buy houses because sellers get more motivated. And it's harder for buyers to get loans at the banks. And I don't care because I put lease option tenant buyers in the house and we can just wait it out. So I think what you should be thinking about is preparing your house so you don't have to worry about what's going on in the White House. And that means get your cash flow up. And in my opinion, get rid of all the personally guaranteed debt you can and get as much money put away as you can as well. So that when it happens, you're prepared and maybe even able to give somebody else a helping hand that is not so prepared. Take care of your house. Quit worrying about the rest of the world. Take care of your house first.
Awesome. Next up, I've got, what happens if you put a tenant buyer in a house and they don't pay?
Well, to be honest, that's very rare. It does happen, but it's very rare for one good reason. That big non-refundable deposit that you received up front is forfeited if they don't pay the rent, clearly spelled out in the documents signed with an attorney. So we don't have the problems with tenant buyers that landlords have with tenants who have no dog in the hunt. But sometimes things happen and they can't pay. Well, first thing I do is try to peacefully get them to move if they tell me they can't pay. And sometimes I even buy them out. I'm happy to give a family $2,000 or $3,000 back of the deposit they gave me if they'll just get out peacefully and leave the house clean. I'm thrilled to do it. Because if they don't do that and they really want to get nasty about it, then your choice is to evict them. And that takes different amount of time in different states. And I try to do everything I can to avoid that. But if I'm faced with no other choice, then that's exactly what I'll do. Just hire an attorney and have them evicted. And I've probably had to do that 2 or 3 times in my entire 42 years. But on your first one, you'll probably have to evict them. Just kidding. All right. Okay. Your insurance policy is the amount of money you get down. It's that simple. All right. And also, you got to make sure that they can afford the monthly payment. Those are the two big things I look for. Can they afford the payment? Do they have enough down to satisfy me? I don't take less than 5% down. I can tell you that right now on a non-refundable option deposit. I'll leave it vacant or I'll take less than that. That's what I've learned over my time. Better to have a vacant house than have the wrong person in it. And that upfront deposit is the only thing you've got to hold them accountable with.
All right. And then kind of going off that question as well, is keeping the non-refundable option deposit when they don't buy on lease options unfair?
Well, you know what? I could understand why someone would ask that if they haven't been trained in the industry. But if someone signs an agreement with you and it's clearly spelled out to them in writing that the deposit is non-refundable if they don't buy, and then they choose to do it, why would I feel bad if they don't do it? It's them that's breaking their agreement, not me. I bend over backwards to help people buy houses if I can see they really want to. I put them in there with a 2-year term, but I ain't gonna move anybody out of the house because they can't buy in the 2 years. In fact, I let them stay there as long as they want to keep paying rent. And if they want to buy it in the future, then we'll work out a deal. They usually don't, but if they do, I'm not going to take people's money away from them if they actually want to buy the house, but it's when they don't that I don't mind taking it. That was the agreement. That was the deal. I did everything I was supposed to do. It's them that didn't go forth with their agreement. For all kinds of reasons, people do that. Nobody's going to give me a big deposit if they don't intend to buy. But on the other hand, when's the last time you intended to do something and you decided you weren't going to do it? Okay, that's human nature. And it's totally up to them. In fact, if they call me and tell me they're going to move, I'll try to get them to stay. No, don't charge them anymore. Don't raise the rent. Don't do anything. Hey, stay another year or two if you want. I don't care because I don't want them to move. All right, I'd rather they stay in the house and keep paying the rent if they're not going to buy it. I remember I had one tenant, was in the house 5 years, a young lady, husband left her, 3 kids, paid her rent on time every single month for 5 years, but her term was only 2 years. Well, I had a choice because the house went up about $30,000 in that 5 years. So literally, I gave her the price that we agreed upon when she moved in. I didn't have to do that, but I felt it was the right thing to do. So you'll know what the right thing to do is. But look, don't feel sorry for folks if they back out of their agreement and it cost them money. That was the deal going in, clearly spelled out and signed off on in front of an attorney. So get over that. Okay, you're not doing anything wrong. There's nothing to feel guilty about.
Perfect. Well, Ron, that's everything that I have for you. Is there anything you wanted to mention or any events you want to talk about coming up?
We've got a how to handle contractors and rehab a house event coming up on June the 4th at from 12 o'clock till I'm done, which will probably be around the 3 o'clock mark. Don't make any appointments at 3:30 though, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take. And it's free. How do they get on it? You know?
Uh, I'll include the link below.
Oh, all right.
You already mentioned the date, right?
Yeah. Yeah, June the 4th. And by the way, I'm going through the steps of rehabbing a house, and I'm even taking a tour through Lowe's for you, filming all the stuff you'll use to put in a house with the price tags right there, so you can't argue with me about what the materials cost on these rehabs. And I'm also going to show you some. I got a lot of stuff from literally step by step, from beginning to end on rehabbing a house. And handling contractors is a big part of that. In fact, that is your biggest nemesis when you're rehabbing a house is your contractor. So you got to learn how to control them, and you also got to learn what stuff costs. So that's part of this presentation for you. Don't miss this. I'm only doing it once.
Ron, we also got the business management boot camp, June 5th through 7th.
Yeah.
And virtual quick start, June 18th through 21st.
Correct. All right. And we got a real deal going on. I'll tell you right now, Quick Start School is cheapest now than it's ever been in my entire 42 years. So you might want to investigate. And this business management thing that I'm doing next week, which starts on Tuesday, I'm only doing that once a year as well next year. So if you have any interest in that, and you should, because that's the entire process of running your business of real estate and any other business for that matter. All right. Any more?
Nope, that's all we got. Thank you guys for watching this week. And
Guys, put your questions up there. Come on, we need more questions. You get paid to do that. We give you Gold Club points. anytime you're on the site, you get Gold Club points. So get your questions answered. It don't cost anything, and you don't even have to believe my answer if you don't want to. But hey, I don't have much to do today, so I like answering your questions.
The more the merrier.
All right, see you next week.